So hi all, today we will see this question, sequence of sequence. So this question was asked yesterday in the POD. So let us see this question. So we are given two integers m and n. Find the number of possible sequences of length n such that each of the next element is greater than or equal to twice of the previous element but lesser than or equals to m. So see what we have to do, we are given m and n, and basically we have to generate the arrays of this n length. The length of the array has to be length n, and the condition that is given is every next element can be at least twice of its previous element. That is, if I am starting with the 1, then next element has to be at least twice of the previous. So it would be 2, it could be 4, and then it could be 8. But also we are given that it could be at least twice. So we can take the greater than twice also. So if it is 1, if it is 2, if it is 4, then we can take 9 also, as it is greater than the twice of the previous element. Similarly, we can take 10 also in place of 9, because this is also at least twice of its previous element. But there is one more thing that you can do. Instead of 4, you can take 5 also, because then also the condition is fulfilled, as 5 is greater than the twice of its previous element, and similarly for 10. But can you take 6 here? No, because if you take 6 here, then twice of 6 would be 12. So that would exceed the m. So therefore, we cannot take the 6, because the maximum number that we could have in array is m. So we have to count number of such arrays possible, which is 4 in this case. So if you see what is the maximum number in the array that I could have is equals to m. Now what is the position for this m? See, is this m can occur anywhere in between the array? No. This m could be at the last position, that is at the nth position only. Why? Because if we place this m anywhere in between, suppose in place of 4 I am putting 10, then when you do twice of it, it would become 20 at least. That is exceeding my range of m. So that's why m can be at nth position. Okay. Now see, we have two cases. We have two cases for m, which is we have seen that the last position could be at most m. So there are two cases. That is, either it could be m or it could be lesser than m, because it has to be at most m. So it could be equals to m or lesser than m. So if the last position is equals to the m, so what would be the n minus 1 position? So n minus 1 position could be at most m by 2, because when you do twice of it you get m. So that is why n minus 1 position could be at most m by 2. And if it is lesser than m, then we don't know what the correct number actually is in this. So what we are doing, we are assuming that it could be at most m minus 1 then, and we are still passing the n as we have not fixed the number yet. Similarly for this, we have two cases for n minus 1th term. Either n minus 1 term could be m or it could be less than m. Then similarly the things will happen that n minus 2 could be at most m by 4, and here the m minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 1. So basically this will just go on. I will try run this. Let us see the recursive tree for this. So in the question, the m that was given to us was 10 and n was 4. So let us make a recursive tree for this. 10, 4. So what we have seen was that we have two cases. One is that when my last element is equals to m, then what I am doing, I am just simply passing m by 2 and n minus 1, because the last number could be at most m by 2, and if this number is lesser than m, then we are assuming that it could be at most m minus 1. Let us dry run for this. So see, the first is m by 2 n minus 1. So when this is equals to m, what would be? M would become m by 2 and n will get n minus 1. And here, when it is lesser than m will become m minus 1 and remains the same. Now similarly we have for here, when this is equals to m, when third position is equals to m, then the possible outcomes are 5 by 2 is 2 and n minus 1, and the another could be 4 comma 3, and similarly here we have one could be n m by 2, which is 4 and n minus 1, and the another could be m minus 1 comma n. So see, you can just simply see the pattern what is actually happening. Yeah, okay, sorry. So see, if we again do for this, then our m becomes m by 2, which is 2 by 2 is 1, and n gets minus 1, which is 1, and if it is lesser than m, then it becomes m minus 1 and n only. Similarly for this, if the third position is equals to m, then it becomes m by 2 n minus 1, or if the third position is lesser than the m, then it could be m minus 1 n. Similarly for this, and it will just go on. So basically this is the recursion problem, and this is the two recursive calls that we have to make, and in both the recursive calls that I will get answer, I have to add them, and now I have to tell what the total number of arrays like that I can generate. Now let us see the base case. What is the base case for this problem? See, it is clearly given that we have to make an array of length n which can have at most m value. So what if my m is lesser than n? Suppose my m is 4 and my n is 5. That is, I have to make an array for 5 length where the maximum value could be 4. Can I make it? No, because it could be 1, 2, 4, 8. Exceed it. There is no possible. So there is nothing possible. So in that case, I can simply return 0. Now what if my n is 0? That is, the length of the array is 0. Then there is always one answer possible, which is the empty. So when n is 0, the answer will always be 1. So this is the base condition for this recursive tree. So now let us try to code it. So for this, let us make another function. Let me just name it solve, and I'm passing my m and n in that. And let us make this recursive function. So I'm having m and n as my arguments. So what was the base conditions? If my m is lesser than n, then there is no answer possible. And what if my size of array is 0? Then if my size of array is 0, then there is always one answer possible, which is an empty. Otherwise, what we have to do, we have to just make the recursive calls when my nth position is same as m, then my n minus 1 position could be at most m by 2, and when this is lesser than m, then I'm assuming it could be at most m minus 1, and whatever I will get, I will just simply add it and return it. So the compilation is successful. So yeah, the problem is solved successfully. But what is the time complexity? This is exponential. But what we were asked was we have to make it into m cross m into n, which is length into the last possible number. So if you observe this recursive tree, you can clearly see one thing, which is we have already computed 4 by 3 here, but when we are at here, we are again computing all of it. Okay, and not only this, we have already computed 2 comma 2 here, but when we are at this, we are still doing it. So there are many overlapping subproblems. So this is known as overlapping subproblems. So when we are doing this task again and again, this is increasing my time complexity. So what I can do is, whenever I'm calculating it for the first time, that time only I can store it somewhere, so that whenever next time I get the same parameter, I can simply take it from that using constant space. So how can we do it? This is very clear that we have to now use the dynamic programming DP. So if we are using DP, we have to make a DP table that will store answers for us. The size would be m plus 1 and n plus 1, where in DP every cell represents, suppose this cell in my DP represents the answer when my, suppose here the m is x and n is y. So this cell represents my answer when my m is x and n is y. So, and I will initialize my DP with the -1. I will fill all the values as -1. So if I am seeing any cell for the first time, its value would be -1. So if its value is -1, then I will make the recursive call and calculate its answer. But if the value is not -1, then that means that I have already calculated it. And if I have already calculated it, then I can simply ask the DP to fetch me that value. So for example, 4 comma 3 is this cell. So I'm calculating it for the first time and I'm storing my answer in this. So whenever I'm at it the second time, I will simply ask the DP to fetch me the value of for this 4 comma 3. So this will optimize it. So we will use top down approach. So for that, let us make DP globally. So what is the size of the DP? M plus 1, n plus 1. What is m? 100. So we have 101, 101. We have to initialize it with -1. So let us say mean set DP -1 size of DP. Now when we are at here, we have to check if we have already computed the answer for this respective m and n. If this is not -1, then we have already calculated it. Then we can simply return. And if we have not calculated it, then we will make recursive calls and calculated it. And while calculating, we will simply store this in my DP table, so that next time when I come, I can just fetch it at constant time. Okay, this is how we are doing memorization. Yeah, the answer is correct. Now see, there would be the wrong answer and I will tell you why. See, here this is mentioned that the m and n range is at most 100, but here the m is given to you 101. So that means the constraints are not this, so we have to increase our constraints. So let me just make it 1001. So now when you will do, it will be fast. So yeah, the problem is successfully solved, and since we are using the DP table, and in DP table we are going through every cell once only, because we are storing it for the first time, and second time we are just fetching it at constant time. So time complexity would be big of m cross n. So that was about it. Thank you. If you have any doubts, feel free to comment.